the number 2 player on the planet, although yesterday's loss kind of upset things a bit. Fabi, this game, you went after him, and you played incredible amount of preparation because you were blitzing, choo, 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 every single move. When did you actually get out of theory? Because it looked like 25 moves in, 26, 7 moves in, you were still well within your preparation.
I feel like we were both sort of in preparation for a long time, but we were both struggling to remember the details. The problem is that we both have an enormous amount of choices after f4, and bishop b5, which he played, is one of them, and I assume if you play this, it has to be, you have to know the position, because bishop b5 doesn't really come to mind. It sort of abandons the king, in a sense, and he played rook g7 instantly, so I assumed he was successfully recalling his preparation.
What about you? How far were you into like knowing for sure, like the move f7, queen d2, or were you going on instinct?
Yeah, I knew that you played queen d2, and I didn't really know much after that. But I mean, the position is, I guess, roughly equal. Of course, that's only the evaluation in a practical game.
Why did you not play queen d2 before f7, before f6?
I assume black can take on f5 then. At least I was worried that black can take. And maybe queen f7. I wasn't f6 rook g6. I don't know, but I thought that he would have this option of taking.
Okay. So now you said you were struggling at this point to figure out what to do, and why'd you choose the path you did?
Well, it seemed logical. I don't want to allow his queen to get to e6. Queen d5 is super logical. And yeah, okay, bishop e2. I was expecting h6, but he does have a lot of choices. I mean, the bishop should get back to g4 and to e6, but the question is what move order, and it's very difficult. It's actually one of the most complicated positions I've played in a long time in terms of just trying to calculate things. And yeah, I think he played h5, which is a very dangerous move later on, because he can play h6. I think he's totally fine. Here I should play knight c6, because okay, now he's much more quickly liquidating the pawns. Now knight e7 is very dangerous, so bishop g4. This would be like in the game. I assume he wanted the pawn in h5 rather than h6. Probably he was worried about knight e7, take, and bishop d6, which is what I was going to do, and I assumed that I'm not worse, but also probably my attack is enough only for a draw. Queen e7, bishop d6. I think he can play queen g5. And if rook c7, queen f6, the queen, yeah, I can't remember exactly what I wanted, but I think I was looking at something like this. But here, queen e6, bishop e5, queen e6, queen d8 wins, so now I don't remember what I was looking at. But okay, I understand. He was probably worried about this stuff and felt h5 was more stable. And now I spent, after h5, I probably spent like an hour.
Yes. It was 50 minutes and 23 seconds.
Because I have so many possible moves. Okay, knight c6 is the most obvious one, threatening knight e7. Bishop g4 is forced, I think. Knight e7.
If he played h4, what did you have?
I thought knight e7 would be very strong. Maybe it's not, but take queen e7, bishop d6.
I think this was the moment where
bishop d6 was winning. Yeah.
Bishop d6 in this moment is winning.
Yeah,
h4 bishop.
After h4.
Oh yeah, and yeah. Actually, I did notice this tactic, and then I have rook c in the end. Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
But okay, I didn't look at h4 much. I mean, I thought bishop g4 is the only move.
Right. Which was played. And then how did you...
No, this never happened.
No, he was looking at knight
the
c6,
variation.
bishop g4, and how did you continue in your mind?
Well, I have... Okay, knight e7 didn't seem to lead anywhere in my calculations. He takes bishop d6, queen e6, and I don't think I have anything. Endgames might even be a bit worse, so I didn't really want to go for this. Although I think it should be a draw. And then I have like bishop g4, queen a5. But it looked extremely unnatural, and I thought maybe bishop f3 is a good move. Yeah, it threatens knight d8. But after like knight d8, bishop e4, king a1, he has rook h7. I thought it's both very risky, and I couldn't quite make it work. So I rejected this one. And there's also bishop g4, bishop a5, but it didn't seem to work out. So actually, I was also looking at rook c6. This is a move I probably spent like half an hour thinking about, which is very direct. I just want to take on d6. Actually, the reason I rejected it was working out in all lines. And then I noticed this move, queen h3, and I couldn't find a move there.
Queen h3.
Wow.
Wow.
Because now I abandoned my first rank, so after bishop d6, he has bishop d3, king a2, queen f1, and I get mated.
Well, that's awkward.
Yeah. So then I saw this happening in my mind, and I thought, okay, this is not how I want to lose today. And knight c4, I thought it's safe. It's very close to being positionally winning. Okay, I mean, I spent a lot of time on bishop e1, h3, bishop g3. After knight c4, take h4. Bishop e1 it's very tempting to keep my rook alive. h3 is forced, bishop g3, and he's completely paralyzed. He only has one move to play queen b5. Otherwise, there's just no move. And endgames are very close to just being bad for him, but I didn't see more than a draw here. Because he'll take on d5, like let's say I play bishop h2, he's again paralyzed, he takes, I take, he plays rook b7, because he has to do something. Rook b4, rook c7, and I saw this draw bishop g1, rook h7, bishop h2, rook c7. If he gets active, then his rook starts to collect too many pawns. And then I thought, okay, I still felt like I had some advantage or chances to win, so I didn't want to go for this draw. But I ended up confusing myself too much, trying to figure.
This game hasn't there no draw between Sam Shanklin and Richard Rapport. We're expecting that.
We were indeed. And
So we were concerned in a moment when you played what looked like a deep move, king a2, that you had this chance to play, instead of rook d2, rook h2.
Yeah, after rook h7, I didn't see a next move.
Queen c4.
I didn't see this. I don't.
You put it up.
just waiting. You mentioned that
waiting for
Black
what?
was in a situation that in the past moments, Fabi, Queen b5 was a move that Black had to rely upon. In this moment, with the rook on h7, the king on h8, Queen b5 is actually met by this very nasty geometry-pleasing move, Queen c8.
Yeah, he can't allow this, but if he plays Queen g4,
Queen to g4. We had an answer for that one too.
Bishop d2.
Bishop d2.
And Black is just running out of moves to play.
Ironic.
Queen g3,
Yeah, this is
Queen c8, King g8. I'm just like trying to figure out the win. Yeah, King h8. Oh, and g6 is hanging. Oh, okay.
Yes, precisely. G6 is hanging.
And Queen b3 doesn't do anything because I can just, like, even to visualize that this is not perpetual because of bishop c1 would.
Pretty taxing.
Yeah, it's a difficult bit of calculation. Yeah, I don't know. Like Queen c4 didn't. I mean, I saw that the move was possible, but I just didn't see the point of it.
He's in some kind of zugzwang almost. Like his bishop can't move, his rook is tied down, his queen's kind of tied down.
Yeah,
Maybe or maybe not you're threatening a pawn, who knows?
The problem was he was getting this Queen g4, g3 in all the lines, and here I basically stopped that because the queen comes to e6 to e8. So yeah, he gets paralyzed, and maybe eventually I'll take a pawn, but I just didn't consider the move, so. And the thing is, I was also like, when I played Rook D2, I had this kind of vision that Rook D2, Rook H7, I thought maybe I can play Queen A8. And then I realized that it just doesn't work for more than one reason. Queen F7, Rook D5. Okay, and Queen G8 is the main issue, the most clear-cut issue. And after Bishop D6, he can take. I think it's a, I don't know if it's a draw in that case, but I think it's still a draw. But he can also play H2, and Bishop F8, H1. The Queen on G8 somehow defends everything.
That's a pretty funny position.
So this was important. And then okay, I had a minute. I thought I can still play Rook H2 in the end instead of Bishop D6, but I couldn't figure it out. It was very confusing, and I was low on time, and it was difficult to make this decision with 1 minute on the clock to play Rook H2 here. So I thought let's shut it down.
So you remain half a point behind the crew. You got 3 rounds to go. Still have aspirations, of course, to win the tournament. Disappointment today, maybe an opportunity lost, or it's just a game?
Well, it was really difficult. I don't think that I missed something easy. It's not like my game against Jeffrey. I really felt disgusted after the game because I did it all to myself. I feel like this was at least a normal game. We were both calculating a lot, and Maxime is really at his best in these positions. It is his main strength. So it's going to be very difficult to beat him. Of course, I did have, the opening went well. I put a lot of pressure on. Maybe I could have hoped for more, but Queen C4 was a tough one.
One final question from me is, yesterday we were at a pool party, and you and Maxime hung out like best buds. Like it wasn't any animosity. You knew you had to play the next day, this very important game. How is it that players can maintain that cordiality and even like straight up amicability, friendship, knowing that, hey, money's going to be on the line when we play tomorrow?
Yeah, I guess it depends on the player. I mean, they're all competitors, but there are some friendships, and I like Maxime. He's a friend, so yeah, I had no problem hanging out with him, and it doesn't affect how we, how we play the next day. It wasn't like we made a quick draw or anything. I think we both knew how important this game was, but it was also nice to relax and not think about chess for a few hours.
If I give you, sorry, because you got me, Ralph, for a second question, forgive me. Are there any players you're not hanging with before today? Like,
yeah,
no?
most of them.
Most.
Good answer. Good answer.
All right, well, good luck tomorrow in your game.
Thank you.